Welcome back to InnerNiña. Today we welcome a very special guest. Her name is Maria Mondragon. She is a first-generation Latina, the oldest sibling, and the first granddaughter. She graduated from Indiana University of Pennsylvania in 2022 with a bachelor's degree in criminology and minors in forensic science and homeland security. Community involvement is very central to who she is. She currently works as a 911 police dispatcher with the Chester County Department of Emergency Services, where she applies her education while serving her community. She is also an active MANA member and volunteers during our national events whenever time allows. It was during one of the annual volunteer events held in San Antonio, Texas, that I met Maria and her beautiful sister Samantha. They were both helping put the event together, and while they did, we got a chance to have a little fun. I credit Maria in teaching me how to TikTok, and to this day, she's my go-to TikTok guru. I reach out whenever I have a question. Welcome, Maria. Thank you for joining us today and supporting our InnerNiña journey. How are you today, beautiful?
I'm doing great, enjoying my last day off before I start my rotation, so I'm good today. Thank you. How about yourself?
Excited to have you on our episode today. So fun fact, I've been trying to coordinate some time with her because she's really busy. So although I'm awake right now, her work kind of keeps her working at night. So this is a time where she should be sleeping. And so I'm totally grateful that you are keeping your beauty sleep on hold while you are joining our InnerNiña podcast. So thank you so much for that. So
Thank you.
how's it going? How are you doing?
I'm doing great. Today's like my reset day before I start my rotation because I said I do like day shifts and night shifts within the same work week for me. So it's just getting ready for the week, meal prepping, and getting enough rest. That's the biggest thing.
Well, you're doing great. I see a lot of your postings and you're in a wellness journey as well. So you're doing incredible, keeping healthy. I see the pictures that you post. And so keep it up, girl. I don't know how you do it because you have a different schedule. You basically, if you work night shifts and then switch it back to day shift, when do you have time to work out? When do you plan that?
I have to make a gap for it. Otherwise, it'll be non-existent. So I'll be like, sleep, save myself an hour or two for the gym, and then come back.
Wonderful. Well, you're looking great. I saw you in person not that long ago, and you're doing incredible. So kudos to you. Keep going. So tell us about yourself. Tell about your journey, your background, your family dynamics.
Well, I love saying I am the oldest sibling, first generation Latina, Mexican American. I feel like being the oldest sibling and oldest daughter is like a title in its own because the ones who are it understand how much we carry and our responsibility. So I love the title as is, but it does hold a lot. It holds a lot of duties. And obviously, we're always like the second mom of the family. And I like that. I like being able to take care of those around me, take care of my loved ones. So I am Mexicana, Mexican American. Both my parents were raised in Mexico, and my sister and I, we were born here. The area I live in is pretty diverse. So it is nice having those little corner stores or panaderias or cultures like all around us. So that is one thing I really miss when I was away in university because we didn't have that in Indiana. It was a completely different environment. So I do love my little town and I find myself to be outgoing. I love trying new foods. I love visiting new places. And despite loving my little town, I like getting out of it. I like to be able to travel, visit new areas. And I do owe a lot of like the new food tasting to my boyfriend. He exposes me to that. So just getting out there and not being afraid. And despite my little town, I do love PA in its own because of the fall. I feel like it's the most beautiful season here because we have a lot of greenery and woods. It's just like nature's all around us. So seeing that, I don't know if I could do California.
We have
California,
everything.
but I've gotten so used to this air.
And for those that don't know, PA, it's Pennsylvania,
Mhm.
right? So it's beautiful. I'm looking forward to one day in the fall. Go and check it out now that I have 3 of my mana daughters over there. 4 if I count Sam, and you guys show so many beautiful pictures. And now I think TikTok is picking up on my
feet.
travel feed. And I'm like, oh, I didn't know this was there. I want to go. So yeah, and right now I know that you guys are under a lot of on a snowstorm
Yeah,
going on right now, right? But you mentioned that you're an older sister. To those that don't know, you have a beautiful sister,
yes.
Samantha. And you also have a little brother. That dynamic. How's that family dynamic with 2 siblings and your your brother is younger than both of
Yeah.
you. So how's that?
He's like 10 years younger, over 10 years. I also do have step siblings. So it's like I'm the big sister on both sides. And again, it's like I'm the second mom, whether it's like I had to be strict or I have to be like the sister that I'm like, come talk to me. But again, I'm like, no, don't do that. Now I see why mom's mad. So it's just playing the both roles of like being the oldest sister and like a second mom. It's just like in our nature to take care of everybody around us.
Yeah, along with taking care of your siblings. Oh, and fun fact, I got a chance to meet your mom finally in person, and OMG,
Yes.
both of you look just like her. She's beautiful, but the three of you
Yeah.
guys could look like sisters. And so that dynamic as well, because you not only taking your care of your siblings, you also take care of your mom. Share a little bit of that story of what you're doing to take care of your mom. You shared that with me last time we talked. How's that going?
I feel like there's different aspects of taking care of her, whether it's also like, I think like when I take care of my mom, I say like, yes, I look out for her. I let her vent to me, but I'm also letting her experience new things in life with me. Cause again, my mom, it was always just work, work and take care of the kids and take care of us. But I feel like I'm taking care of her in the sense that I'm helping her InnerNiña as well. Like I take her to do like candle lights, to workshops, coffee shops, new food stops. Like I love being able to get her out and be like, there's more to this world than just work, work. Yeah. So just the self-care part. I do always buy her products. I'm like, Ma, you have to try this. You have to do this. Try this with your hair now. And my sister does the same. Like my sister will do her hair. So it's like we care for her in a way like, yes, we love you, but also like we're healing her by being there for her and exposing her to this like new level of self-care and just all the other things there are to do besides just being stuck in that one routine of work, come home, and do it all over again.
That's beautiful. I love that. And I think that has to do a lot with, you appreciating the sacrifices because you're able to see she's been working, raising three incredible, kids, but not
Yes.
making time for herself, right? And so do you feel that's a little bit more of a role reversal now that you're playing? Because you have that. From the
Yes.
moment I met you, you always had like this mother instinct. You're very maternal and you're very like take charge. Have do you feel that that has taken a reversal role for you and your mom?
Yeah, I feel like I do, like you said, I do take care of her, but now it's in a different way that I'm grown up. And I did share with you before that my mom took care of six of my cousins. So she had eight, because then afterwards she had my little brother. So then it did turn into all of us together. So again, it was like my mom never really got to settle in and take care and it just enjoy life. It's always been like take care of everybody else and then I take care of me. So now it's like my sister and I are like, no, mom, like put yourself first because she's just been working all her life and now it's like let yourself relax. Let your nervous system get a break from everything. So I do feel like my maternal instincts came from her and then just always helping her. Because my cousins were younger than I, and there was a point where I was like, I was getting them ready for school. I was doing my little cousin's hair. So it was like, it was just that mom, like, take care of my mom by making making it easier.
This beautiful that you're able to now get a chance to dedicate some of that time for her, and kind of honor her right now and appreciate that. It's hard for us to do that when we're little. Now that we're an adult and we're in a good position, we can acknowledge our sacrifices our parents made, especially our mothers, that we're like,
Yes.
okay, how do we pay it forward with them? How do we do things different? I also remember you sharing that one of your dreams is to buy her a house.
Yes.
So how is that going? Which I thought that was incredible.
Yes.
How's
So
that
I've
going?
had two major goals. One of them is complete. I bought myself a car not too long.
Nice. That's awesome.
Let me get my car, and then we start with the process. We already have a realtor and a mortgage lender chosen. So those 2 steps are out the way right now. It's just like fully soaking in that I got the one accomplishment one like done. So now we're on to the second of seeing the housing market, but we have started since last year and just what's come up isn't the best. So I told her, I was like, there's no rush. I want to make sure with what we're getting, you actually like and you're going to enjoy it because it's going to be an investment for the next 20 to 30 years. So we have started that, but it's just not the best in our area right now. And we do
Yeah.
plan to stay local. So it's
Now,
already
do
like,
you plan to live with your mom or is just for her and her family?
I feel like it all depends on the property, but as of right now, I'm looking for something more smaller, just to downsize to make it hers, like hers and my little brother's. Because my sister, she plans to travel or to
Yeah,
move and get a like she wants to explore the world as well, but she would definitely be there for a bit, I feel, as well. But the main focus was getting something that she can feel comfortable in, and we could always come in and visit her, like, make it
that's
her home.
beautiful.
Yeah.
That's beautiful. That's beautiful. Well, you're gonna manifest it, and I'm sure that you're gonna make that come true to fruition.
Yes,
So
it has to.
I'm sure it will. Fun fact about Maria, I credit her with my social media
Yeah.
journey, I guess, because when we first met, I met this incredible young lady and her sister through Mana. We were having our annual Mana conference. That visit to Texas, that conference in Texas was one of my favorites because I got to meet incredible and I got Mana daughters added to my family. And she was one of them. She introduced me to TikTok. I opened my first account with TikTok, and her sister was showing me how to do video. We started doing videos. We were putting our conference together. They volunteer for our national events. So they come in from Pennsylvania, wherever we're having those events, whether it's in Texas or, Washington.
DC. Yeah.
Yeah. So they come in and help Mana National. They help Amy, our CEO, and they're so good. They're incredible. I don't know. We wouldn't have the conferences that we have without their help because they do a lot behind the scenes. And I got a chance to see them at work, and I'm like, wow, thank you, because you guys make it look so easy. But what we were doing behind the scenes, I got there a day early to help out because I knew there was a lot going on. And I got a chance to hang out with them and put things behind the scenes together. And then she's like TikToking, and I'm like, she showed me a new toy, a new system. I'm like, do this. And we were having fun and we were doing TikTok videos behind the scene. And my very first TikTok video, it's us dancing with our CEO, Amy, and the board of directors for the collegiate chapter in East Coast University of Pennsylvania. And that was pretty cool. And after that, it's like, she's the person I talk to, or I reach out and say, hey,
Yeah.
how do you do this? She's
I have
my
to walk you through it. I make you own personal tutorials just so you know.
she says me because it's so easy for her. As a matter of fact, I have a beautiful light in front of me that the last time we saw each other, we were taking pictures, and she's like, here, take this. This is going to change your life. And I'm using it for my podcast. It's giving great lights, and it travels with me when I go places because lighting is
It's
essential to our
everything.
pictures, our videos. So she is a woman of so many talents. So I really enjoy watching your videos and your pictures when you travel because she is an avid traveler. And so I'm like, where's she
I
at today?
try. It's there.
Yeah,
I love visiting new areas, learning about it, and just
but
the
I
si
love it.
I'm a sucker for the nature and the sights. It's so
Yeah.
beautiful.
And
My
that's why I don't
story
know why you're talking about California, because we have everything here. You want snow? Go 2 hours to the mountains, right? You want great food? Go to LA, 2 hours out. So we have beaches, 40 minutes out. We have everything. We're a little pampered, but I get it. Pennsylvania, I've seen the pictures for the fall. It's beautiful, but I won't do the snow because Leola's was
I don't
mentioning to
blame you.
me, yeah, the pipes got frozen and they have to navigate with no water, probably no electricity in the cold weather. I'm like, yeah, I'll stay in the warm weather.
Driving on icy roads, yeah. I had to drive through the first day of the storm because I was getting out of work, and it was, like, silent. There was no cars, no tow trucks, or, like, any plow trucks either, so it was peaceful but eerie.
Yeah, who's coming to your
Oh,
rescue? Who's
yeah.
coming to your rescue? Yeah.
I'll
Talking
just call
about rescue, tell us what you do for work
I
and
am
why you chose that.
Okay. I'm a 911 dispatcher, and again, I feel like that motherly, caring community side of me made me, like, more devoted to the job. I was exposed to it through networking from a friend in high school and just her brother, and it's just like, again, networking was a big help in this one, but I never thought I'd see myself doing it, and I laugh about it now because in college, I would always look up professions, a day in a life, and that was one, and I was like, "Next profession, that looks too hard." And then now I'm in the field. I'm a little over 3 years now, and I'm doing 3 out of the 4 positions in the room, so I
Well,
definitely agree
I
fine
see
with that.
that.
Yes.
So how you like that?
Honestly, I love the job itself. The only thing is the night shifts from having to shift my body to like eat in the day to then you're eating at 3 a.m. or you're sleeping all day to be awake all night. So just the schedule is not my favorite, but the job itself, I love the technology. I love what I'm actually doing to contribute to the community. And again, it's like I'm talking to people on their worst days of their lives. And there's many times where I say like, I am so happy that I received this call because I was able to help them to like the best of my abilities. And if not, like pull in more resources to help them out. I've had a good variety of calls, whether it's like funny, sad, or just scary calls. But I love what I do. Again, I'm happy to be able to help in these type of ways because I feel like I'm very patient. It's like I have a
Mhm.
calm demeanor.
Mhm.
Despite this being an emergency, I'm like, okay, I'm gonna help you. Just take a deep breath.
Yeah, and you have that actually. You have a very calm nature, very soothing voice.
Thank you.
Which being around you just make everybody relax around you. I know you mentioned something the other day about being an empath. With
Yes.
everything that's going on, right? And I'm like, I need to ask her about that because you do have that, your sensitivity, but we are dealing with some incredible situations in our country, which, I'm sure you're getting a lot of that activity
Yes.
on the phones. How does that work for you? Tell us about it.
It's it is a little conflicting because as I see it in the public and then like news channels and Facebook posts, there'll be like certain agencies are in the area and hunting people down. But it's weird because we don't get many of those calls in our radio room, if that makes sense.
Mhm.
So it's like I'm aware of it from the public, from the outside, but like working at the center of everything, they don't really talk about it. And I did have to bring that up and just ask my boss, like, okay, so what do we do if somebody calls about it? Like, what are our rules? Do we help them with their rights? But it was super vague when it comes to that. They just said get a police officer and they'll help. So it is hard to be able to want to help, but stay within my lane like professional wise because there's a lot of confidential information we do get and I can't put that out in the way that I would want it just out of respect of my position. So I have to
Wow.
just so that's the hard conflicting part. So I'm like whatever's out is out and what's confidential I can't release. So
Wow.
it is learning how to control that side and not let it take a toll on you mentally.
Yeah.
Prior to this, I did have an exposure to a gruesome job, but again, I did a 3-month internship during the summer at the coroner's office. So
Oh,
I worked in the morgue and going out to scenes. So I felt like that prepared me mentally as well and emotionally when it comes to be able to disconnect. I'm empathetic, but there's a point where it's like you can't hold all that with you all the time. And it's interesting to think of it now because I got experience at being the last responder, being there at the end. So now being the first one that helps you before anything gets worse. So it's just my career, professional career has helped me as well into schooling. Because I did get exposure to that. They did tell us like this is what you're walking into. This is what you're gonna expect and this is what's you're being held accountable for. So having that on my belt and just experience wise has helped me a lot coming into this job.
oh,
My
that's
empathetic side and my empathy, it's just like it's there. It's definitely there, but I've learned to be able to stay professional and hold my composure during certain times.
wow. That's incredible. I don't think I will be able to do it,
Thank-
but I think you're in the right spot for that type of job. So because you do this on a day-to-day basis, what would you like the public to know about your job, So give a little bit more clearance. And I say that with
It's a couple things,
grain of
but
salt, right? Because I see sometimes when
yes.
people are calling is like,
Mm-mm.
my pizza has been delivered. It's late. I'm like, don't call 911 for that, lady. This is an emergency. It is an emergency. I'm hungry. Whether that's like on a joke or not, but do you get those kind of crazy calls?
Yes, we've gotten that their prescriptions wasn't delivered or they haven't received their mail or just people that aren't right mentally and just call and call and call. And again, it's like you're taking that one officer away from a real emergency, if that makes sense. But we're really good at learning how to prioritize and organize those type of calls to be like, yes, you are important, but there's somebody who has a more like emergent emergency, but
emergency.
do know how to like sort that out and categorize it on our end on the computers, just so that same person doesn't keep taking up time. Because I've had it where I've had like elderly people call and say, like, my internet's not working or my phone's not working. And if it's not busy, I'll take the time to be like, this is the customer service number, but you can't call 911 again for this. I'm like, I'll give you something to help you move forward, but you can't call 911 because we're not like a phone book anymore.
Yeah, right.
Back in the days, they'd call to get phone numbers, but I'm like, I shouldn't be doing this, but I'm gonna help you just so you don't keep calling here. So hopefully gear you to the right direction to get help in what you really need to help with.
Tell them to Google it.
Yeah, but it's sometimes like elderly, they're like, "What's that?" And I'm like,
Oh,
"Okay, I'm gonna give you the number, you write it down and call them. Don't call 911 anymore."
geez, that
But
requires a lot of patience too. Do you ever
yes.
have incident where like people can get blocked for, harassing 911 callers?
Yeah, they do get charged, but that has to be filed through the officers. Because the one thing is like every call, we have to put something in the system. So if you're calling us about a missing package or something, or it could be whether it's like a non-emergent, but there's times where I've had somebody call and call and call. And luckily for my instincts and just being like, well, I'd rather send somebody to check on her because her talking to me and reporting this multiple times is not normal, like, got her help in the end, and she wasn't mentally okay. So it's things like that where it's like you need to be able to know what's, like, almost like a scam call versus, like,
Yeah.
a call for help. So just, like, sorting that out. It's a lot that goes into the mix, but I feel in my experience and then my skills with being in the public and with people have, like, helped me out in those times.
Have you ever gotten one of those calls? And I guess I watch a lot of TV where, victims use that outlet to call. And I use the pizza because I saw it in a movie one time. But they're in they got kidnapped and they called and, they're ordering, I get the ordering, but the operator kind of picked up on it and gave instructions. Have you ever gotten one of those calls?
Yes, we have heard of the pizza call, but I've gotten it where they're just like, "Can you do this?" Or I have to ask them questions and like yes or no. Like when it's like,
Okay.
"Do they have a gun? Do they have a weapon? Are you safe? Are you away from them?" Where it's like you have to be able to ask them questions that they can answer in front of that person that they're afraid of. And I have gotten those calls. And again, it's like learning how to read the call and not rush into the like, this is a scam or like they're
Right.
not right. You have to like be patient also with them. Like we're patient with you, but they're patient with us as well to just take a moment to be like, okay, this is a domestic call and they need help. So
So
I
if
just
you had kind of guidance to share with somebody, if someone was in that position, right? What kind of tip can you give us if we ever, God forbid, we're in a situation like that can help? 'Cause, not many people could be like you as an operator and then like try to dismiss the call. But what can that person say that could be a trigger to the operator to say, okay, this needs help, this needs attention. Maybe this is a distress call. What do you suggest?
I would say if you can dial and if you can't answer our questions, at least make it known within those first couple seconds that you do not feel safe because we're listening. Like we're listening. If you say you won't feel safe, then we can immediately set somebody based off of your GPS location and then what we're hearing and document that. Females on an open line talking to a male stating she does not feel safe. Like that would be our first line, and an officer would start heading in that direction based on the GPS. Because some people can't have the phone in their hand. So if you need a call and put it in your pocket and then we hear you arguing, then we stay on the call. Like, that's another thing, and it's sad because 'cause I've gotten kids who call. So, if you can, we would appreciate the address and where you at, but if you can't, like, we'll try to stay on the phone as long as we can to just pinpoint that location. If you can another thing I would say is don't call, like, your mom to call 911, because if your mom calls, then we're pinging her location and not yours, and if your mom doesn't know where you are, we don't know how to get to you.
Got it.
So, we always say, if you have an emergency, you call, despite the language barriers or, like, you not being able to talk. And we get interpreters that can cover any language. I've gotten Mandarin, and I'm sitting there and I don't understand anything, but the interpreter's doing all the work for me and asking the questions for me. And that
That's
is another
wonderful.
biggest thing that we have interpreters for almost any language.
That's great. That's a great tip. Thank you for that. So we're here to educate as well. We can provide the guidance because you never know that information will come handy. Anybody that's listening, right? So I know
But
that a little bit of your educational, tell us about your educational background and why did you choose that study?
so I majored in criminology and I minored in forensic bioscience and homeland security. I definitely wanted to go that route. I wasn't sure what in specific career. Back then, my goal was always like a government job. But the way things are in our world today, those aren't always the safest positions anymore. They're not guaranteed like 30 years of work. So it's just like I knew I wanted this field, but not a specific job yet. And just everything involved within my career path has caught my attention when it comes like statistics, the political aspects, and just like what can we do to actually help this issue in our area or this issue in our world, which is like crime. The forensic bioscience really caught my attention. My grandfather, who's one of my role models, he did a lot with law enforcement and politics in Mexico during his time. So
Right.
just like knowing of that, I'm like, oh my gosh, that sounds so awesome. Like he's respected, he's educated, he knows what he's talking about, like he's just a leader. So that was also something that influenced my career path. But I was lucky enough to meet a dean of my college during my time because I entered undecided. And I spoke to her, and she was the dean of criminology. And she's like, you know what? I know you haven't committed, but I'm going to get you the first basic criminology 101 your first semester. And that's when I took that and I liked it, and she squeezed me in that class despite it being full. She's like, "I
Wow.
will override it and get you in there," because she expressed some things, and I was like, "That sounds interesting, maybe I'll consider that path." So it's just the people I've met and the people I've known in my life have definitely influenced that part of me.
So you think that mentoring has helped you?
I feel like I've had mentors that guided me in different aspects of life, if that makes sense, whether it's more like the leadership. And I have met people in criminology, but it's more like pursue what you want. Like they've always motivated me that way. As far as criminology specifically, I haven't had like one role model, but I've had a lot of mentors that's helped.
That's awesome. So
That makes
one of the
sense.
things that we share in common is that we're part of the same organization, right? Mana. How did you get into Mana? What
I got
inspired you to
into
be there?
I got into it in high school. Because of Miss Perna, I'm not sure if you ever met her, but she was definitely one of the most influential persons during my time in high school. She was the person that would ask you if you're okay, and you'd be like, "Yeah, I'm fine." And she's like, "No, how are you? Like, what's going on?" And she definitely got that side of me, my vulnerable side out. So she pushed me into Mana, into leadership summer programs, into extracurricular activities. She got me out of my bubble 'cause I was really shy back then that I couldn't order my own food because 'cause I'd get bright red. So she helped me out a lot. So that's something like she was like a mentor in life and getting out of my comfort zone. So,
Both you and your sister are Mana members.
yes.
And how did you fall into the volunteer section for the national events?
From Miss Perna as well. During our first one, she like told us that Amy was looking for people to help her during that conference. And that's how we found out through Miss Perna. And she asked both of us. And we're like, sure, sign us up. Like, this sounds amazing to be able to be part of this like organization that brings everybody in. Cause we already had like our involvement with the smaller branch because we were hermanitas in high school. So then just being able to help the big conference was awesome and a great experience because I met you and a lot of other influential women. It was just awesome to hear like, wow, like they really have these positions, they've strived in life. They've beat the odds of like getting the title over a man. So it was awesome being able to sit there and listen to everybody's stories and be like, there is more Latino women taking over despite of what's going on in our current world.
Yes, absolutely. And I love that we share that same sentiment, right? This platform, I created this podcast because I keep hearing from a lot of my hermanas. You were instrumental
Yes.
in leading me into, and other hermanas like, you need to do something. You need to be out there, and because when we gravitate, I get inspired, and you guys inspire me. We inspire each other. And one of the things you'll always hear me say is like, my purpose for mentoring young ladies and the women that come into my circle is I want to change the mentality where instead of competing with each other, we're here to support, elevate, and celebrate each other. And I
Exactly.
am being mindful of that. I teach you that. You hear that from me and how to pay it
Yeah.
forward. Yeah, and I was like, I'm there. Right? And you know that since the moment we met, we haven't lost touch. Anytime we get a chance to be in the same town together, we're like, okay, what are we doing for fun? You
Exactly.
know, we did that recently when we were Chicago, right?
So,
And
mhm.
she took me to the bean, and so she's like showing me some places, and I love it because it opens up our mind to everything that's around it. Even though it's new, it's open-minded, but it gives us an opportunity to learn from each other. And I wanted to continue that mindset to mentor others. You talk about being an hermanita, right? And you were mentored by others, and now you have an opportunity to kind of, what we're doing here is sharing our experience to hopefully influence young
Others.
ladies of all ages, so we can continue uplifting each other. And this platform is specifically for that, right? I have been fortunate being in this organization that I've gone to some of these events, some conferences where I'm barely running an energy because there's things that are going on, whether things were going on at work or personal. And I leave those conferences completely re-energized because the women I come across are just like, give me the extra boost. I come out motivated and ready to tackle the world. And I'm like, I'm not alone. I have all these incredible women. And that's what I get out of those conferences, And so I said that the year that we met in Texas were like one of my favorite years because I have additional
Yes.
family members. And in one of my podcasts that I shared, I talked with Leolis and I think even Richie,
Yes. I
the
love that part.
first
We were part of
we
that.
are part of that, and we're going to talk about that because it was so much fun. As a national board member, and I was just elected for my second term as a national board member. So this month starts my new 3-year term. And intentionally, I joined the national board. I went from being an executive board member with Mana de San Diego, and then the opportunity presented itself to be part of the national board. And the intent for me being part of that is, how do we connect our chapters? How do we help each other and grow the organization? So every time I go to these national events, I'm making a point to sit in different tables, which is what I did that conference. I was
We
like a
met.
little like butterfly going from table to table. And,
Yes.
some of them, were like, what is she doing? But I wanted to leave the conference knowing a lot more hermanas, learning their stories, and whether I came back and said, how can I help that chapter? Because we're nationwide. And by doing that, I was able to, besides meeting you and your sister, meet, the executive board members from the East Strasbourg
Strap.
University. I always get tongue-tied. And
Thank
so, yeah, it's I get tongue-tied. So I told about the story that we went through, the boardwalk and we divided the team,
Yes.
and both Marias took turns. So Maria was in charge of the 21 and over. She stayed with them dancing at the club. And the other Maria, me, I took the underage group, and we'll walk around while the 21 and overs were having a nice dance-a-thon or whatever they were doing. Because the music was popping. I wanted to
Yeah.
be there. And I'm like, we want to
It
go
was like a
dancing. Yeah, and I remember, I think Angie, she was unfortunately, her bus got delayed, thanks.
yes, I remember that.
And so it was just, so the following day, they had to go to Target to get her, clothes. But one of the things she mentioned is like, I want to go dance bachata. And I'm like, girl, you're in Texas.
Yeah, but it was nice girls' night in Texas.
Yeah, it was girls, Texas. Yeah, there was no bachata. They're coming from the East Coast, and the music scene in Texas, we're lucky if we got like country music or something. But we got lucky. I think they were playing like really good music. We were passing by
Good mix.
and they're like, we need to go dancing. I'm like, okay, well, they can go in. We had 3 that were underage. So we're like divided and conquer. So Ms. Maria here was in charge of them. And we went and do our thing. And like they tell the story, when I came back, I was like dying to dance. And so the ones that were under 21 said, go ahead, Mommy, Maria, just go inside. We'll wait for you.
Wait
I'm
right
like,
here. We'll behave.
we'll behave. And they were there right outside the door. The bouncer was keeping an eye on them. And then it was so much fun. And I think you still have a video of me dancing. Yeah, well, we were just having some. And I'm like, hey, I think we had a dance-a-thon, right? A battle. all
Yeah, you
dance.
had almost everybody dancing with you that night.
I'm like, and it was only for
It's
one song. I'm
awesome.
like, I need to get out of my system. And last time I noticed, I had a circle around me, and I don't know, someone was trying to battle me, and
You
I'm like,
did.
don't let the age fool you.
You were battling somebody's uncle.
I'm like, I won. But it just set the tone for that conference, right? And so I think it's one of my favorite conferences because, like, and I said that at the other episode, relationships were built. And so that was 3 years ago, and here we are today. And I'm just fortunate that I'm present in like your life and the other girl's life, and we make an point to continue. And you guys know that I'm available and accessible
Yes.
for
Just
everything that you
for
need.
hours. The
Yeah.
podcast was perfect for you.
Yeah, so
Like,
but,
you have
like
calming nature as well, that everybody can just open up to you. And I'm just like, "I just met you, and I'm telling you my whole life story."
and I love that, and I love that, and part of what I'm sharing is I unfortunately didn't have that. I talk about mentoring, and I didn't have that. I've shared that I've gone through my journey through trials and challenges and how my life would have been if I had someone kinda guiding me, and I didn't. So, with that in mind is why I wanna be that for you and for the girls and whoever needs me, right? I may not have all the answers, but I'm here, and you know that I'm genuine. I am sincere when I tell you, you can reach out, anytime. Even though 3 hours difference, that
No, that is the only bad thing.
yeah, but,
I'm like,
you reach me.
it's 1 for
Yeah.
me, it's morning for her.
Yeah, but you guys still reach me. I was telling like Leola, it's like I have my phone, it's on do not disturb from 10 o'clock to 6 o'clock because I'm a light sleeper, right? Or whenever I sleep, because I don't always sleep much. But I told her, I said, there's a couple of you guys are my after 10 o'clock in case of emergencies. And it's funny because I have one of you that actually shared locations with me. And when she's going out, she's like, okay, mommy, I'm going out. And,
I
and
love
just in case. And I'm like, all right, because I'll drop what I'm doing and I'll get a next flight over. And so and then
exactly.
it gives that kind of like, and I love that, 'cause I want to make sure I'm that for you guys. And so eventually you guys can be that for someone else. And that's kind of creating that community that I always mentioned with you guys,
Yes.
so you guys give me that sense of that I'm doing something to pay it forward in whatever that may be. That could be us trying to get into a club when we're
Yeah.
over there, and just kind of having some fun and taking pictures and whatever that may be. But you guys do a lot of that for me. So thank you for that. So we talked about your background and your culture and your family dynamic. What's next for you?
As of right now, did complete again, there's 4 positions out of my job. So apart from like my personal life, focus on physical and just fitness and health. At work too, I would like to be promoted to the next level, which is like fire and EMS dispatching. So that is a nice part that there's always new certifications we need to get, new things we need to learn about. Technology is always changing. So that's another thing that keeps me learning, keeps me motivated. Be like, oh, like I can get this certificate if I join this class, or they have conferences as well. So as far as like career wise, I would like to be moving up and receiving more titles under my belt. And
Nice.
personally, fitness is my next thing, just not being able to live a healthier life when it comes to just extending my lifetime in general, like just being healthy inside and out and mentally. I feel like despite being the second mom or the mom of the group, I feel like I need to put myself first, just be like deep into my sense. So apart from my professional career, just I want to focus on myself when it comes to my fitness, to my healing, my inner Nina. That's another big thing. And I love listening to your podcast. I'm like, you're right. We do deserve to choose ourselves. We always choose everybody else. It's time to give ourselves a break and not feel guilty for being selfish with our time. It's just,
Yeah,
like I said, being
absolutely.
the eldest, I always take care of everybody else. So I feel like now it's like, yes, I can take care of everyone else by putting myself first.
Absolutely. I think you're doing a great job because I follow you and I'm like, I get excited when you're posting your locations. I'm like, where's she at today? And I'm like, so it's like you're giving like real life from the
Update.
food that you're having updates. And I'm like, okay, I need to put that on my list. You kind of it kinda inspired me to when I'm like, "Oh, that looks like a really cool place," and, so and I think we do that for each other because 'cause I'm like, I
Yeah,
like
we
posting
do.
stuff, and I'm like, "Hey, I wanna bring people with me," like,
Yeah.
recently came from the trip and, actually, I was teasing Leola's because I sent a picture of, when she was here in California last July,
Mhm.
I took him to horseback riding. So she's showing me a picture of, like, the window, and full of snow.
That's my view right now.
Excuse me. And then I sent her a picture when she was here riding a horse. And she's like,
Wow.
"Why are you torturing me?" And I'm like, "Well, you should be here." But life is short, so we need to enjoy it. And yes, put ourselves first because one of the message when I travel that they always mention is like, before you put the mask on anybody else, you have to put the mask on yourself first, right? And
Exactly.
sometimes we don't do that. Our culture sometimes does not allow us. We tend to take care of everybody else and leave ourselves last, which is why now you're doing that for your mom. Now you
Exactly.
notice that the
Yeah.
sacrifice she did, she put herself last, and how great. And that's really sweet that you are making time for her to take care of herself and also taking care of her as well. So before I forget, I've mentioned you're showing me the dynamic of what you're doing for your mom, right? How does that change from how your mom was with her mom?
Well, my mom came to the US really young, so she was separated from her mom, but she was one of the younger daughters. So it was like she didn't have that close relationship, and she's having it now. Like they're more in touch, but it's like she had to fend for herself. So it's just healing in a way to be like, we can talk to each other. We have that relationship where I can call her any day, every day. I usually do, where I at least text her every day and we talk about something. And that's something she didn't have with her mom because her mom would be like, you have to go work or you have to go do this. Like, you need to bring something home to help us. It's just like, my mom's like, no, like, be patient with yourself, go to school, do this, take care of yourself. She never rushed in, whether it was like, stay at home daughter, stay at home this. She's like, no, like, you need to do something different so you're not a repeat of our past generations of females. So it's just, it is definitely a big change because, as you know, Latinas and Hispanics, we have this sort of traditional view where it's like females stay home, females do this, and my mom was very much like, no, do every opposite thing we've ever done, and we'll support you through it. So it's
That's
just nice seeing
wonderful.
that my mom had a different view despite how she grew up because she didn't have that close relationship with her mom. So it's just, it broke a cycle, if that makes sense.
Yeah, yeah, I see that because she has two incredible daughters, college graduate, very independent, strong-minded, your sister Sam too, because we follow each other too. She's another way, and she's doing incredible.
She is. She's gonna be the first in our family to get her master's.
Yeah, so I'm so
It's
proud of her.
awesome.
Yeah. So your mom is doing something great, and you mentioned, right, breaking cycles, which is another part of our journey, which is why I talked in a lot of the episodes about doing that, because we're not supposed to speak up.
Yeah.
We're not supposed to be like, sharing our stories. They want us to be like submissive, which is something I was rebelled against.
Yeah.
And we
I love
don't want
hearing
to
your
do that.
stories
Yeah, I
of
don't.
you
And I mean,
speaking.
yeah, we need to speak up, and I get reminded, like just recently with the journey that I just came back. And I remember I went to visit one of my cousins. She had her and I have the same name. And then her mom remembered me. They have like this farm, which I got a chance to go to the farm. And my aunt was like, eras tremenda when you were little. I was like terrible. I'm like, todavía lo soy. I'm still am. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? But and then I try to switch it from the negative to a positive, right? Because she might have been telling me, like, I don't know if her intent was to be like positive,
Mm,
but talking to my cousin who was younger than me, and now we really connected in this trip. She's like, you're always very smart, you were outstanding, and then we spent quality time together, and she was like, tell me how to, like trying to get me to share stuff with her. And she's like, she had really good memories when I was little because I was a creative one and doing all this stuff. And I'm like, her
yeah.
memory of me was completely different from the memory of my aunt, right? But I
Yeah.
ain't let that discourage me because to me it's like it's who I am. And then I was telling my cousin because they still do. They still have a farm, and they do cheese, Salvadorian cheese, which I love cheese. And I
Yes.
was telling her, I said, "I like to come play with you because I will go into the back room where you had all the cheese, and I will take a bite, a big
Oh, the
bite
fresh rolls.
of the fresh cheese, but it was the one in the back, so you guys won't miss it because they have a store. They still sell cheese and cream. And when I came back, my suitcase was heavy because I was bringing 5 pounds of cheese, I buy 6 bags of coffee, all from my
Everything,
hometown.
yeah. Yeah,
Yeah. And
that's all.
so I was telling her, I said, "Those are my memories, but I enjoy coming to your house because you guys, they had the blocks,
Okay.
and so,
Yeah.
and it was
Huge
like,
one.
yeah, but her memories, she remembers, and it was really sweet because we have another cousin who I haven't seen him since I was 8. And she told me, he's like, remember our cousin so and so? She's like, she knows you're in town and she's like 4 hours away. She said she wants to come see you because she remembers playing with you. And I'm like, oh, I remember her. And I'm like, you know, I was 8 last time her and I played, right? But the impact I made to that generation versus las señoras was
Yeah. They're
completely different.
inspired, but the señoras are scared.
La señora were like, I'm like, they're like, and I'm like, I was all over the place, but then they're like, look what you've been able to do. And I'm like, yeah, they didn't break my will. They didn't break my will. They expected me to be like sitting there like my sister. My sister would just, wherever you leave her sitting down, she would stay there. I was like, no, I need to be climbing a tree. I need to go do this.
Tomboy.
Yeah, I was a tomboy. I was like, my favorite outfit was a pair of jeans and a Superman shirt that I had. So I
So
looked like
cute.
a little boy growing up. But that was me. I was being myself, and I was not conforming to how they wanted me to be because this is a small town culture wise, and I did not conform, which is what kind of like what I'm trying to change with this podcast to show the girls in all ages like we make our own journey. We decide who we want to not fall into the labels that people want to give us, right? And that's kind of like what I teach my kids, like be yourself, do what you need to do what you love to do, and allow yourself to be who you're intended to be authentic, right?
Exactly.
And so as long as we're able to do that, we are breaking those cycles from our moms, from our grandmothers. And your mom is a great example of that because I've got a chance to meet her 2 incredible daughters. I just can't wait to see what your little brother will turn out to be because
I'm so
he's
excited.
around. Yeah, he's around with 3 incredible women,
Yes,
right?
and,
That's already setting a tone.
he's gonna do great in life with whatever he chooses. He has an athletic build, so maybe he'll be the first athletic star in our group.
What sport does he play?
Right now, he wants to get involved in football, but again, I've always been like a mom to him, and I'm like, "You wanna do basketball? I'll sign you up. If you wanna do a football camp? I'll put you in football camp." I'm like, "Just go try it. I'll get in charge of just putting you in there, but I want you to be exposed and try all new things." Because back then it was like my mom would put us in programs, but it got to a point where work and taking care of everybody else put that on pause for us, and I was like, "Okay, just school. Focus on school." Like, go 100% on school if we didn't have time for any other extracurriculars. So for him, I always say, "I'll pay for it. I'll sign you up. I'll look into it. As long as you wanna do it, let's go."
Yeah. By the way, that's great parenting. I mean, I think a great way to do that because being part of a team is really important. It shows, team building skills and, collaborating. I had the same rule with my kids. My son tried different sports. I only had one rule because I was paying for these whatever camps and stuff like that. So I had a rule. I said, you have to stick it out for the year. And
Yep.
so you have to see it through. You can't be like, oh, the first day of the game or practice is too tough and you quit. No, there's no rule. The rule is you have to see it through. So I don't care if you got beat up. And my mom will try to convince me. He did like Pop Warner football one year. And he's like, pobrecito. Yeah, she said, pobrecito el niño. I'm like, pobrecito, he signed up. He has to finish it. And when he finished the season, do you want to do it? He goes, no. The one he stuck with the most was soccer, but he did hip hop. He did taekwondo. I mean, all the stuff that he did. And that was a rule for me. You have to see it through. I'll find a way to get you to practice. We will collaborate. And in that aspect, the message I try to teach them is no matter things get hard, you have to see it through. You can't just give up just because it's hard at the beginning. And so they were able to see that as a lesson and it worked. They did it. The one thing that stuck the most is soccer, and they still play for leisure. They go and kick the ball around, and so it's helpful. So
But you built him.
continue. Yeah. Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
And in the end, I was teaching you this, and this, and I'm like, "You did." But we were only
Yeah.
focused on the one main thing,
Yeah.
experience.
And I'm glad that you see it now, you know?
Yeah, I do.
And you're able to have that conversation, you appreciate it's called maturity. It takes us a while to get there, right? But we
Yes.
get there. So what motivates you? What motivates Maria?
I am motivated by who I am and the family I have around me. Just knowing that if my mom crossed the border not knowing this language and learning this lifestyle and she's made it this far, what can I not do that she's already accomplished? I'm like, if my mom could do this as a kid, have us, and then do so much more, I'm just like, wow, like I need to do more. I need to be just as driven. I need to go further in life to show them that thanks to her sacrifices, we're here now. So just like keep moving forward, keep breaking these barriers and just showing my younger ones that it's possible despite our background, despite who we are, that we can be in these rooms just as anybody else can.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, I think you're on the right path, and I have no doubt that you're going to accomplish everything you've set your mind to. And
Thank
I'm
you.
just really honored I get a chance to be part of that. And like we said, you're part of my life now. So
Eyes. I was so happy to meet you. I was like, you're like the loving tea I've never had. Like, you take care of us, you nurture us, you motivate us, and just always encouraging. Echándonos porras, even though you're so far away, but it's just always so nice to hear from you.
I
And just
love you
meet us
guys, and I
once
love
we
you so
meet
much.
us.
I don't know how to say it because, someone negatively said something about me doing this to be self-serving. And I'm like, I thought about it. I sat down on something on my self-serving.
Not how we see when the ones that
Yeah.
know it's not like that.
Yeah, and I'm like, but in a way, it might be because it's healing my heart. It's like, if it means like you don't understand, I genuinely enjoy hearing the great things you guys are doing. And yeah, I mean, like if I was near you and you're doing something, I'll be the loudest cheerleader in the room, and you already know that. You already know that. I come with that energy. Like, my kids could tell you because my kids would tell you that a little retrospect on that because when I used to participate in their events, I'll be the one being the
Front
loudest.
with the camera.
I was like the loudest, I have pictures, I have bins of pictures. But I had this situation happen to me when my son was in one of the so many sports. I was the one that encouraged and got everybody riled up around me. The moms, the dads cannot be quiet around me because I'll be like, get up. I remember
Exa
one event, my son is like, can you not be so loud? Because it's embarrassing.
it's because
And
you're
like,
contagious, just
yeah,
pass.
but it broke my heart, right? I was like hurt, offended. I'm like, I'm not going to his next game. I didn't go to his next game. I sat
Oh,
down. My husband is like, you need to go. I'm like, no. He told me, yeah, he's embarrassed because I was too loud and blah blah blah. I don't go there to sit down and just watch quietly. I'm not a quiet spectator. I'm a
yes,
loud mom. I'm a loud,
cheerleader.
I'm a cheerleader. I was in drill team when I was in high school because the drill team actually danced, and so I was more of that. I'm the hype one. So finally after that game, he came back. He's like, "Mom, can you come back to our game? Because when you don't go, nobody cheers for us." I no que no, cabrón. I'm like,
You regret it, I said, "Never mind."
Yeah, but I'm the one that when I was a soccer mom to both their teams, I also was doing volunteer work. And so the coach was like, he loved having me because the same coach what was the coach for both their team. I was like selling donuts in the morning before the games, and I was rallying up we had a very where I live is very, the Latino community is not as big. So a lot of the family members were non-Latinos, but so the handful that I had, we were doing tamales, and I was able to raise money and took the kids to
Yeah.
Magic Mountain. We got them all sponsor sweaters, and the coach really loved us because he's like, "You guys know how to do this." I'm like, "You're on Latinas, we're gonna feed you." We went to Magic Mountain. We had peanut butter, we had ceviche, and then he's laughing at us because my poor husband, got him into doing things because once I'm in it, I'm like, I can't back down, right? That's
Everybody else
my.
around you involved.
He's like, hey babe, we're renting a van. He's like, what do you mean? I said, we're taking the kids to Magic Mountain. Little did I know that because of the different cultures, the other parents like, oh, here's a child. I'm like, Latinos, we don't do that. Our children do not go with us, without us, right? But the other parents dropped. So we were stuck driving like 11 kids in our van. And so the kids that were not familiar with a Latina mom realized when we got to Magic Mountain that that didn't mean that they can wander around by themselves. I'm like, you're my
That's
responsibility. You are arm length. If I don't see you, that means you've gone too far.
yeah.
The teenagers were like, and I'm like, I'm serious. I don't care. And then the coach was laughing because in the back of the van, we have all these coolers. He's like, that's a lot of food. I'm like, we have 13 teenagers,
Yeah.
boys. They eat. And then he's like, he's a white coach. So he's like, not used to that, right? He's like, yeah, I think it's a little too much. I'm like, no. And so for lunch, we found a table and then we were ready. The moms were like pulling out los tapetes, los manteles and the table
That's it.
covers. And he's laughing at us because they're pulling out the tapacillo sauce and all this. Like, he's like, isn't it a little too much? No, it's not. And then he's like, okay, afterwards in the afternoon, the kids were hungry again. So we went back to the tables and we had like sandwiches. And then he's like, you actually were right. Us, we're saving money, but this is the Latino culture. This is where we at. And so he got so into it because he's like, okay, what's next? I said,
What's the
where we going
next?
next? We're making tamales one weekend before we went, and the kids enjoy that as part of the culture. And the funny thing is, like everybody, and I remember one of the assistant coach because I was like coaching and cheering for the boys, and I'm like, okay, puppy, go puppy, and he's looking at me, he's like, did you call him puppy? And I'm like, no, puppy, puppy. I say puppy, and he's like, put it. He's like, I thought you were calling him like a little puppy, and I'm like,
Little
no,
dog.
we call him Papi out of endearment, but it was a really good celebrations. I was always that one, but the only thing that really impacted me that day, my son was like, I was being too loud, and I was like, I went on
Yeah.
strike, and so literally he
You missed
realized
it.
that,
He said,
yeah,
come back.
he came back with a little tail between his legs, and he's like, can you come back? Somebody cheers. I go, no. Okay. But that's what I am when I see you guys is like, I get really excited. And the fact that I get to have access and you guys are sharing is like, I'm there clapping as loud as I can be because I'm really proud of the young ladies that you guys are and knowing your journeys and the things you guys are doing and getting to meet your mom. Like when I met her in Washington, I'm like, she's so
Yeah.
beautiful. And
I
I'm
was so
like,
happy you met her because I'm like,
yeah,
favorites all coming together. I
oh,
was
I
so happy
love
you let
her.
me be part of that as well. Just like we were both the moms, we were the chaperones that time, but I'm just like, all right, ma, I'll go to workshops with him. You go explore DC, walk around, get yourself a coffee, just go sightseeing, take your photos.
How did she think when she saw, because she hadn't been to a Mana event and to see a group of all the women that were there? What was her thought? What was her
She loved
impression?
it as well. She just said it was so motivating to be able to hear and see all these young and like older generations just passing that down. Because we had the opportunity to speak to Bambi, like our group and I. We were
Yeah,
eating lunch, and she was right next to us, and then she started talking to us about her life story, her advice to us, and it was just so. It was heartwarming to see that, like, we weren't the enfadoso young kids to her. She was like, "Come here, my kids, like, I have so much wisdom to give to you." And my
yeah,
mom was like, "See, this is what I love, these older generations passing that down and being happy to see these kids doing something different than they were doing, like, something
yeah,
different out of the normal, the regular, like." 'Cause, a lot of times they're like, "No, this is the way you do it and this is how you go about
yeah.
it," but it was just awesome. She was really inspired by it. She's like,
So
"What
those
can
who
I"
don't know who Bambi is not the Bambi in the story. Bambi
I don't
is
know.
one of the founders of Mana. And
Yeah.
just a little bit, I haven't really kind of give a little bit of intro. Mana initially started now 52 years ago. Initially started as a Mexican American National Association. It got shortened to Mana because they want to make sure it also included not just Mexican Americans, but included all Latinas. And I mentioned to the board, I'm like, I'm glad I did because then I wouldn't have any room for the organization because I'm Salvadorian. But
Yeah.
it started with like these incredible women back in the 70s that were putting an organization in place to advocate for Latinas, to make sure we had a seat at the table, we had equal pay. And then from that moment, I mean, Amy shared with us in one of the events that we had conferences, a video on YouTube that is still circulating of the actual founders demonstrating. And we talked about it before we went to the Washington because we got invited. President Biden at that time, when we got together, invited 150 Latinas from the MANA organizations to come and visit the White House, which was great. Your mom was there too. And to say, hey, they're passing the torch. So Bambi, our co-founder, was part of it and was able to give motivational um, speeches to all of us. I came back and I was like, wow, what can I do? I'm not doing enough.
Yeah.
I
So
came
I
out of that, right. I'm not
empowered,
doing
like,
enough. I'm like, yeah,
yeah,
and so their message that I got from when they spoke is like, be unapologetic to take up space.
exactly.
Be yourself and it's okay, And so I was like, we have a lot of work to do. And I think coming out of that even motivated me more because I have a daughter. I have a blood daughter and I have other adoptive daughters, that I'm like, I want to leave things a little better than I found it, a little better than what I have right now. So their battles are less. And I'm passing the torch too because these battles you guys will to continue because eventually you will have daughters and how we continue to kind of pay it forward. And talking to
Exactly.
them is like, wow, we've made just a little bit of progress, but not really. We still are fighting a lot of the things that they were fighting when they founded this organization, right? And so that actually I videotaped her conversation and I still have it. I got a chance to meet a couple more of the founders through our event, and I was like, wow, these women are just incredible.
Yeah.
And one of the things that came out at one of the events is like they could not envision the organization being where it is right now when they first started it 52 plus years ago.
Yeah, it was so nice
So
hearing their experiences and then being able to see what our future turned into thanks to them. Thanks to
yes.
what they did and what they started. And like you said, you just come out of there refreshed, empowered, and motivated. And I feel like I love seeing that. And like you said, just spreading that wisdom. When people ask me, how did you do this? How did you get there? Or even about jobs, I'm like, this is what I did, and this is a shortcut to make it easier for you. Like, come to me, I'll help you. Like, I'm always happy to help and share that advice because I definitely did learn a lot. And like, I'm the first one that paved it in my family. So FAFSA, I got you. We'll sit down and do it together because Mia had to jump around to get help. Or it's like job applications, resumes. I'm like, I'm happy to help you and make this easier than what it was for me.
Or TikTok tutorials.
Or social media or technology. I honestly love the tech. And as you see, I work with 7 to 8 computer
Yes.
screens. So just knowing I know my way around a computer and technology now.
Yes, and which is I appreciate that. That's also the sentiment that I want with the community I want to create, right? Because I use this example that I talked when I'm sitting with groups of other women. I want to change the perception that we women we compete with each other, and I call it the crab syndrome. Where you put have you heard of that? Have you heard of that? So there's a crab syndrome where you put in a bucket a bunch of crabs, and instead of, if I had a choice to be an ant, right, or be a crab, I would choose to be an ant rather than a crab. And this is an example why. You put a bunch of crabs in a bucket, the crabs will pull each other down, right? They don't
Yeah.
they don't let they don't help each other out. They're just constantly pulling you down. The ants, however, they're like a little community where they help each other out. If you
To get
notice, they're really smart. I don't test it because there's some videos on it. If an ant sees there's an opportunity for food, he goes back to the group and say, "Okay, I found food." And then all of a sudden, you get a line of ants coming through, right?
that is true.
So I
Yeah,
prefer to be an ant.
okay.
And creating a community where little ants are here to help each other. That's why you're here, and I keep saying it, support, elevate, and celebrate. I'm not here to create people to compete with each other. I'm not here to compete with anybody. I'm competing with myself. How can I be better today than I was yesterday? And how I can give an example so the girls or whoever's looking at me can say, it's possible because she's doing it. And as I'm doing it, like you said, how can I help you? Let me show you the shortcuts because
Yeah.
I got to this road and this is before your time. There was no Google, there was no MapQuest. There was a Thomas Guide. And then if you know what a Thomas Guide is? No? Okay, I'm aging myself badly here, but back in the day, well, hey, I grew up with encyclopedia, but back in the day, there was no cell phones and Yes, I know I look younger than what I am. So, like,
You do.
uh, we had a Thomas guide, which was a book for, and you had a book for each county, right? So if you had to be driving around different counties, you had to get another book for that county. So I had an LA County book. And I'm like, oh, I need to go. Where's the address? And I had to find in that book the address. I said,
Mhm.
okay, I have to drive here and get there, right? There was no Google Maps, and you'd be surprised how many times I will get lost. And because I got lost so often, because I have no sense of direction, my husband have tried to teach me north from south, west and east. I'm like, listen, I don't understand that. The best
I don't
directions
blame
I
you.
got, yeah, I don't understand that. The best directions I got, like I was telling when I was in my country recently, my aunt's like, oh, yeah, vete derecho, you make a right on Wendy's, and then you go straight to your Pizza Hut and make another right and go straight. I'm like, those are the directions that I grew up understanding. Don't give me
Yeah,
north and south, right?
3
So the
blocks north,
Thomas,
east. Yep,
and
it
if you
is.
have a restaurant or landmark, even better. You can't get lost, right? We're good at landmarks.
Exactly.
Well, I'm from the Thomas Guy generation and that kind of directions, right? So my journey to where I'm at has
Yeah.
been a lot of losses, a lot of, I used to get lost so much. I used to call it, instead of getting lost, I'm sightseeing. And so anybody that, when they said, well, where are you? I'm sightseeing. Oh, you got lost again. I'm like, listen, it's a matter of how you see it.
They already do well.
I was driving for 2 hours, but I got here. So because I don't want the ones that now in your generation, you guys have all the technology, but there's other things to navigate life that may take you longer. And I'm just saying, hey, let me show you a shorter way. If there's a way that I can guide you so your Thomas guide is non-existent, I want to be your Google Drive. I want to be your MapQuest or whatever easy access to kind of remove that, because I didn't have that. I talk about I didn't have a mentor. I didn't have any guidance. It took me longer than it should have to get to where I'm at in different aspects of my life, whether it's career, education, family, because didn't have anybody kind of being a sounding board for me and say, hey, let me teach you what not to do, or maybe let me help you with this. And since I
Resource.
didn't have that, is why I get excited where I can be that for you. So going back to the servant, self-serving comment that I was used negatively, maybe it is self-serving because it's healing a little part of me that was hoping someone did that for me. As easy that I have it, I'm able to now pay it forward by it being able to, how can I help you? How can I facilitate that for you? How can I listen and be there for you? Because I didn't have that. So, it's fulfilling my little inner niña need and healing that process. And so that's what I get out of it.
Yes.
So
And you're doing great, and I love to see, like, how many people you have recruited, and I know you have a long line of people that just wanna talk, but just, like, seeing your questions, I'm just like, "Wow," like, she dived into her story to make you comfortable to just talk about yours. Hearing yours made me feel comfortable, like, "Wow," like, she overcame all these obstacles, and she's doing this now. And then you motivate us despite our obstacles, be like, "Keep going, you got this."
I want to be able to give a platform to showcase because, I got to know you guys and I'm like, like I said at the beginning, China, you have a crazy schedule
I do it. I
but I
know
am honored.
it is a crazy schedule, and then overtime, sometimes it just keeps me there longer. And I'm like, "I'm sorry, I just did an 18-hour shift.
No,
I'll touch base next week."
but I appreciate the fact because I want to share your story. Like I said, yeah, it might be a little biased, but you know, I want my girls to share their stories because you guys have incredible stories and you guys are great role models, right? This platform is not just a specific age group, but whoever's listening to this journey, whether it's a mom struggling to find encouragement because something hard they're going through, or maybe a young girl that's trying to figure out what they want to do with their life or what studies to pursue, you're giving some insights to both. And we're creating this opportunity for others to hear the stories because at the moment when you're going through your process, you feel like you're going through it alone. And like when I'm going through some of my stuff, I go for walks and I get into a podcast and I'm like, okay, I'm not the only one that goes through this stuff, right? It gives me that little boost to say, okay, I'll be okay. And so this is creating that opportunity. And also I want to create a safe space where people can share their stories. And if I have an opportunity to put a nice, it goes back to me cheering for you guys, right?
Yes.
Highlighting the things, the incredible women that I come across that I've been meeting throughout this journey I'm in, and the organization that I'm part, because I have a big family now. I have the Hermandad, part of the organization that I'm very passionate. I think I may drive people crazy because I am passionate, because I believe the things that we're doing is making a difference.
Yeah. And you
When I come
heard
across
about
the
your
moms.
scholarship, your $40 scholarship.
My story, they named the $40 story. It's something so small that I wanted to do, and then it got named and it took traction. And the last time I was, and I gave a little speech, I was really touched because one of the moms that was there gave me the little un cantarito, like a Mexican little and I still have it, and I'm like, she's like, thank you so much, and I'm like, oh my God, because you don't do it with the intent, you're doing it because it feels good in your heart to do that, and you're like, I want to be able to do that. No one did it for me. Not
Exactly.
expecting anything. I wasn't expecting. But when mom came and she gave me a hug, and I was like, oh my God. And I'm like, I don't want to cry. It just makes you realize, okay, it's meaningful. So I need to continue doing this. And I just, I pray that I continue having the opportunity to be able to do that, because it could be a sentiment of a nice word or an action um, that can make an impact for someone. It may not be that the young girl, but the parent could see you know, the sentiment behind it, and the lives that you're ultimately hoping that you're helping. You know what I mean? So that's what I get out of it. So I want to continue doing it.
It's
Yeah,
completely fulfilling, and I did get a letter once after one call, and it just warmed my heart, and I'm like, "This is why I do it. This is why I do it, to help people." So I might not appreciate it in the moment, but afterwards, I'm just like, "You're making a difference. We all
yeah,
making a difference in our own way."
absolutely. So continue that. One other question that I have is actually two. It's part of my closing questions. But if you had Maria wisdom, if you share some wisdom, people your age or others, what would that wisdom will be?
I would say that you're deserving of any opportunity, despite of your background, despite of what you've been through. You deserve to be there as well. There's many times where I felt singled out, and I'm just like, this is not where I should be, or why am I the only one? But then it's, you know what? You worked hard as well. You dedicated your time, and you deserve this success or this opportunity just as much as anybody else does.
Right. Well, you do. And that's good to have that different approach, right? Because we have imposter syndrome, and that's part of like a lot of
It's
things
very
that,
real.
right? So great, great wisdom. So if you had a chance to go back in time to the little Maria, your inner Nina, what would you tell her?
I would say that everything's gonna work out and you are gonna be able to help out as many people as you can. Despite everything you've been through, you will always be that loving person that gives back. It's not gonna change you.
That's beautiful. Beautiful message. Well, thank you, Tokaya, Maria.
Yes, Tokaya, that was it's all she got.
Tokaya. I'm like, yeah, because it's two of us, for joining us today and sharing your story and for being part of my life. I'm really grateful that, you're part of my family. So I'm looking forward to it. And I literally just last week, I was like, if I get a chance to do a 3-day weekend and go to Pennsylvania, and then I got two messages from Aleola's and her mom seeing pictures. I'm like, I don't have the clothes to be over there. I'm like, no.
Aleta's gonna be full of your stuff and no treats leaving.
Yeah, no. So no, because you know what I want to do? I really want to go back east because I have a pending Broadway show that I would like to go and do.
Which
Yeah,
city?
yeah. So when I do, I'm just like, hey, what are you doing? Let's go. And but not
Definitely.
right now. Like right now, it's too cold for me. I'll stay put until the weather changes. And
Wait for
so
the summer season. It's nicer.
yeah, but you get humidity and heat. So maybe
That's
spring.
true.
Spring. I do remember the East Coast. Spring and fall are the best time.
Fall.
You know.
I am biased when it comes to fall.
Yeah. So I will do a fall, but I want to see you guys before that because I got to see you, and so I want to make sure that we continue. And then we have our annual conference coming up. So hopefully, both you and Sam will make it to this. I think this year's Washington. So we're back to Washington.
Local for us, yes.
Yeah. So we're definitely going to be there. And we continue our tradition of getting together in person whenever possible. So
It's a
I
year.
appreciate you. Yes, at least, you know?
Yes, it definitely is refreshing being back with
And
our
you know
people.
what? I know you want to live in California, but you also have a place to come in California. Mi casa es tu casa, you know? You're welcome here anytime.
I
Okay?
appreciate you.
I appreciate you. Thank you so much for being a support system, for being my director of social media, TikTok.
I'm happy with any technical issues.
I love you so much. Thank you so much for just being part of my life. I really am grateful. So thank you to Maria, and thank you to our listeners for taking time to be with us today, for listening and holding space for me. I'm Maria Benitez, and until next time, thank you. Bye. Te quiero a ti. Bye.
Thank you for listening. Thank you for holding space for me. And thank you for allowing me to walk beside you as you heal your inner niña. Until next time, please don't forget to follow and subscribe.